Tonight on KGW News, on the lookout for a suspected thief with consignment stores in her crosshairs.
Small businesses, it's pretty painful.
Also tonight, a generational battle for a Portland neighborhood.
United in our vow to restore the legacy our ancestors left behind.
Why a group is asking the school district to move its headquarters. Plus,
there are people that they're basically putting our lives at risk.
A drunk driver accused of crashing into a Vancouver road crew. And later, up for debate.
But we've got to have all the tools in our tool belt.
And they are not working on real solutions.
The in-the-works plan when it comes to drug enforcement to find what some say is a better balance. Thanks for joining us at 11. I'm David Molko. We start tonight with a string of break-ins and what appears to be a serial burglar, specifically targeting high-end resale and consignment stores. Catherine Cook talked with several store owners tonight and joins us in the newsroom. Catherine?
David, they want this person caught. Security cameras have captured her on video several times. She has a unique face tattoo and an eye for designer purses. Maybe you'll recognize her.
Take a look at this security image.
Hoping somebody knows who she is.
The heart tattoo on her left eye, the hoodie. Consignment store owners all over the Portland metro area think this woman has been breaking into their small businesses.
I was livid.
Linda Fisher owns Funky Monkey Consignment. She has two locations, one in Salem, the other Sherwood, both broken into. In November, she says this woman broke into her Sherwood store the Sunday after Thanksgiving. She says the crook wiped out all of her high-end handbags, many valued at more than $1,000 each.
I was in shock. I couldn't even come into the store. I didn't want to see it. It's just when something like this happens, it's just devastating.
Linda says it happened again this past Sunday morning. She believes the same woman broke into her Salem store. She says from the video, it appears the woman was looking for and not finding high-end purses. Linda says she no longer stocks them.
If you see the video, she's talking to herself and she kept on saying, "Where's all the good stuff? Where's the good stuff?" And she was actually getting mad.
Please don't tell me this is all this happening here.
Right now I'm getting a stomachache because it just thinking about it, it's really hurtful.
Bailey Hansacker knows that feeling.
It makes my stomach hurt.
She owns Modeo Resale in Vancouver. Back on December 22nd, she says a woman broke into her store and took nearly all of her high-end handbags. She's frustrated that it's still happening to others.
This needs to stop. And you can't do this to a small business too much, or we can't function anymore.
And there's more. On November 8th, security cameras show someone breaking into consigning women in Lake Oswego. Similar suspect description, including the vehicle she was driving. In most cases, cameras have shown the suspect in a white BMW SUV. Just one more clue these store owners hope will help crack the case.
We put our heart and soul into these stores.
Turn in the information. Yeah, I just would love to find this person.
Now, each store is working with their local law enforcement agencies on these cases. If you have any information on who might be responsible for these break-ins, call your local non-emergency line. David?
Yeah, it appears that suspect has been very busy. Thank you, Catherine. Let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now. 6 road crew members with WSDOT are now recovering after a suspected drunk driver crashed into the back of their vehicles in Vancouver. WSDOT says the crew was parked along I-5 near Northeast 179th over the weekend to repair potholes. 90 seconds after arriving, they were hit. The workers were taken to the hospital and then released.
After they got through the initial shock of everything, their spirits are surprisingly high. I mean, it takes a fun bunch to be able to go out and do the work that we do and then come back and still have a positive attitude.
Yeah, sure does. The WSDOT manager we talked to says the driver was going 60 miles an hour when he hit the crews inside their pickups. The driver was arrested. Officials now urge all motorists to be mindful of road crews and to slow down. A jury has awarded 9 more people $85 million in a lawsuit against utility provider Pacific Corp. This is one of several lawsuits related to the 2020 Labor Day wildfires. Back in June, another jury found Pacific Corp liable for damages for failing to cut power to its lines, despite warnings from fire officials. The company had already been ordered to pay $90 million before today's ruling. We're expecting more trials in the next few months. And Portland police have identified the woman who's accused of stealing a car that had 2 children inside. Police say 33-year-old Ayosha Milaj stole the car yesterday afternoon in North Portland after the kid's dad left it running while he ran into a business. The kids managed to jump out at a red light and flag somebody down for help. Investigators say police eventually caught up with the car across the river in Washington after a chase on I-5. Milaj faces a list of charges that include kidnapping, robbery, and reckless driving. New at 11, a push from some community members who say Portland Public Schools should sell its headquarters in order to help rebuild and reconnect the Rose City's historic Albina neighborhood. Alma McCarty's here with a look at a conversation that appears to be gaining momentum. Alma.
Well, David, the area we are talking about is just north of the Rose Quarter in Portland. That's where the Albina Vision Trust wants to redevelop the Lower Albina neighborhood. Now, decades ago, construction of I-5, the Veterans Memorial Coliseum, and the PPS headquarters displaced hundreds of Black families who had owned homes here. Now the group aims to buy the administrative central office from the district and on the land build 1,000 units of housing.
This used to be an area that very much resembled the city grid that Portland's famous for, right? Small blocks, walkable, green space everywhere, single family residential homes. So we can't recreate exactly what was here, but we can start to think innovatively about what could be here and who should be benefiting from the stuff that gets built in the center city.
During the meeting Tuesday, Albina Vision Trust tried to convince the district now is the time to sell the current headquarters. In the presentation, the group explained staying in the building, the Profit Center, would cost the district millions due to deferred maintenance and other necessary upgrades over time. The group wants to help them find a new office space downtown.
Ultimately, what we would like to accomplish with this is for the board, not tonight, but sometime in the very near future, to formally pass a resolution agreeing to a timeline for a transaction on the Profit site. So this conversation is very much a table setting conversation so that they understand the pros and cons of relocating and relocating now.
Now, board members, they've voiced their approval of the idea and of moving forward with this conversation next month. We'll be sure to follow this developing story. David?
Hey, thanks so much, Alma. Well, let's get to an update tonight. Hundreds of students in Portland are expected to move to other schools after damage from last week's winter storm forced their campuses to close for repairs. Tonight, officials sent a letter to parents of Markham and Robert Gray Middle School students telling them kids and teens will be sent to other Portland schools during these repairs, which could take several more weeks. They say they will try to keep kids as close to home as possible. Those students may need to be split up among buildings. That may satisfy some parents we talked to earlier today who are upset the district is only preparing for virtual classes for their kids.
It's not equitable. If other students are receiving in-person instruction, a Chromebook is not enough.
I think if they can get back in person, that will be the best case scenario.
All right, here we go. PPS did not say which schools the students might go to or how soon that will happen. It did tell parents to expect more concrete plans tomorrow. Meanwhile, classes in the Corbett district have been canceled for the rest of the week because of storm damage. The district superintendent there says problems include leaks in buildings on the main campus that they need to fix in order to fire up the boilers. Across the Columbia, the Mount Pleasant School District in Washougal also remains closed through Friday. Well, now to Decision 2024 with NBC News projecting former President Donald Trump has won the New Hampshire primary. This follows his win in Iowa last week and deals a blow to former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, the last major GOP candidate challenging Trump. Now, Haley had been hoping New Hampshire's many independents would help her pull out an upset. That did not happen. While tonight she finished firmly in second, she told the crowd in the Granite State she plans to keep fighting.
New Hampshire is first in the nation. It is not the last in the nation. This race is far from over.
All right, the next big Republican primary to watch, South Carolina on February 24th. Well, tonight, an NBC News exclusive as we hear from the CEO of Alaska Airlines for the first time since that door plug blowout over Portland. Alaska Airlines 1282 was just a few minutes into its flight when it lost the plug, depressurizing the cabin and forcing an emergency landing with 177 people on board. Nobody was severely injured, but the FAA immediately grounded all Boeing 737 MAX 9 aircraft in the U.S. pending further inspections. Now, here's part of what Alaska's CEO Ben Minicucci told NBC's Tom Costello.
The fact that you say you found loose bolts on many of your planes suggests this is not a one-off. They've got a serious problem with quality control that extended well beyond a single plane.
Yeah, I think this is the issue that's at question right here is what is Boeing going to do differently on their quality program to make sure that when we get an airplane, it's at the highest degree of excellence, and that's what's got to be different going forward.
Yeah, some big questions. Alaska's CEO apologized to passengers of Flight 1282, praised the crew, and added he is angry this happened. The airline's now sending its own teams to Boeing production lines to oversee its work. You're watching KGW News, and straight ahead at 11 on this Tuesday, taking action against drug use as Oregon lawmakers reveal a controversial proposal to recriminalize possession. Sort of. Plus, volunteers step up to spruce up the Rose City. The efforts to make sure trash and debris don't build up as the ice and snow melt away.
And it's been a mild and dry evening so far, but there is rain rolling out of the coast. Right now, we've got rainy weather to get through for a good part of the rest of the week. But the gorge continues to melt, mainly rain tomorrow and even warmer weather on the way this weekend.